that group come in all together throughout the whole thing and finish strong.
And we are underway. Men event number 1, heat 2. This is where we will get to find out who wears the crown at the Syndicate Crown in the North America East semifinal. We are here for the kickoff show, and these men are about to start their first 800-meter run. In this heat, it is completely stacked. In lane 20, it is Will Morad, 19, Spencer Panchik, 18, Luke Parker, 17, Saxon Panchik, 16, Peter Mason, 15, Jack Farlow, 14, Jack Rosema, 13, Samuel Conway, 12, Jason Hopper, 11, Roman Krenikoff, 10, Jeffrey Adler, 9, Austin Hatfield, 8, Dallin Pepper, 7, Benoit Boulanger, 6, Travis Mayer, 5, Alexander Caron, 4, Tyler Christoffel, 3, Dre Strom, 2, Seth Stovall, and number 1, Cam Crockett. Tasia, this heat is completely stacked. You've been to the CrossFit Games once as an individual, 2 on a team. Talk to me about the jitters and nerves that have built up and in anticipation to this event.
For sure. The first event, I personally think, is always the most nerve-wracking. You're there, you want to exert the energy, and it's just so stressful but so exciting. So to see the veterans out there, they're probably not going to have a problem keeping their nerves in check. Some of these young guns, there's not many out in this heat, to be honest. They're all pretty experienced, so I think they'll be smart with their pacing and nail it.
That will be interesting because we do have a couple key focuses now. I always make these up. It's the Go Ruck steps to success with each event. And the first one hasn't really changed. I've watched athletes do this for 3 weeks now at this point, so hopefully I've tried to nail it. But the first one is pace, don't race. And the important part is, and you highlighted this, is that you got to run your own race. You can't be lulled out into someone else's running tempo when we know we're going to find ourselves spending so much time on that 800-meter track repeat that they're running on right now. And then the second is mechanics matter. And I specifically am referring to the clean and jerk. 185 pounds, which we talked about, isn't heavy for any of these individuals that are on the floor, but they're going to do 50 repetitions, Tasia. So they've got to be mindful of that both on their run and in their return to the barbell. How high are they willing for their heart rate to be? How much energy do they need to reserve? When do they need to make moves?
For sure. And it's a lot to process, so you got to have a plan in place and also be able to adjust on the fly. If something seems to go wrong, you got to be able to adjust and just get back into it.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I got to spend time with Chris Henshaw last week in California. He works very closely with Jeff Adler. He was talking about some of his training leading up into this point, to the fact that he feels so good at running. He's putting down a 19-minute 5K in like a zone 2 type effort. It's just astonishing what we see as we see these elite individuals, and look who it is. Roman Krenikoff leading the way into the stadium, but Jeff Adler right there step for step with him. Jeff will be the first one with hands on the barbell. Austin Hatfield, number 2 to the barbell. They're right beside Jeff Adler. Roman, number 3 to the barbell in lane 11, and Hopper in lane 12 with his hands on the barbell as well. Now, all men choosing to do singles here from a pacing perspective. We've seen this time and time again. In fact, we typically don't see touch and go towards maybe round 4 and into round 5 specifically. But Tasia, last heat, hardly anyone chose touch and go at all.
Sure, yeah, it seems like they executed pretty well to get to that last barbell and have not enough left to go touch and go, because we know that will make a difference.
Jeff Adler, hands off the bar. He started his run at 3:44. Immediately, I watched him tap his wristwatch. Roman out 3:49. Hatfield out 3:49. Hopper out at 3:53. Oh, this is going to be a tight race to the finish now. One thing I'll mention, Sam Cornway out the door, 4 minutes even. And now we got Travis Mayer, Boulanger, Dallin Pepper, Panchik, Morad, Alexander Caron, all making their way out the gate. And then we've got another pack here, following closely behind. Luke Parker. We've got Crockett right behind him. Stovall, Tyler Christoffel, and then the fittest media man in the space, Dre Strom.
I'm a big Dre Strom fan. I'm excited to see him out there.
And you spent some time down at Mayhem. We've talked about this already, but Dre seems to be a very unique individual in this space. It's like either he chooses to be all in and all crazy with his training and fitness, and I'm just saying this from a distance of what I see, okay, and what I hear.
Yeah.
Clearly he's chosen to be all in this year.
He is all in, and he is crazy, absolutely. I experienced that with him on the team, but something that I learned about Dre is he can get really fit really fast, and I mean, it's going to show for sure.
And this brings up an interesting conversation then, even about peaking, right? Now we know CrossFit's designed to have an amazing ability to give us this general physical preparedness so we can be prepared for the known and unknown all the time. But as a sport, just like any other sport, these athletes are preparing for a particular series of days. In your history of being a competitor for yourself, how important was that for you, like hitting the sweet spot with volume and intensity going into a competition day?
Yeah, for sure. It matters a lot, being able to taper leading up to that competition day so that you're almost itching to get out onto the floor. You want to feel fresh, but not like you haven't touched anything. So at Mayhem, we always worked out. We did stuff leading up, but it was just not as intense or not as heavy volume, things like that.
Yeah, and I've always found that that's a very difficult place to navigate for people, because I work with a lot of people as individuals, and I'll tell you, there are some athletes who absolutely hate to taper. They're like, Coach, I need more. I'm so worried. I'm getting out of shape. And luckily enough, you get opportunities throughout the year to also deload and taper, even if they're not going to compete, to help prove to them the fruits of this, the practicality of, hey, well, let's just back off and let's see what you can do. And they're like, yo, I PR'd, I didn't work out for like 2 days or 3 days straight, and I loved it. And it was like, yeah, but you were worried you were out of shape, remember?
Yeah.
Right? The same feeling you're going to have going into semifinals, and it's important to help them have that trust and ability, because now, you know, we've got professional coaches from all different types of camps and regions of the world, and they're putting these practicals into our sport of being able to guide athletes to optimum performance, not just this notion of general physical preparedness.
For sure.
Oh, look who it is leading the way. No surprise. Mr. Aerobic Capacity himself now could be a new coin term for Jeff Adler. He's created great self-awareness. His hands are on the bar now. 7:01, he began his clean and jerks. Roman Krennikov following shortly behind. And Austin Hatfield in the top 3, hands on the bar before Roman Krennikov here, and he's actually doing push press, Tasia. Not even push jerk. Ah, there's a push jerk.
I was going to be impressed.
Now Adler doing a great job, bottom right hand part of your screen, of actually shoving the barbell to the ground, letting it take one bounce to settle, but then him shoving it back down. This helps him stay urgent, and it helps him almost police his recovery, because you'll know this, it's really easy to settle into a let the bar bounce around pace so you can rest.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell that he's very skilled, a professional, that he's doing that, and he knows that he can maintain that and keep the bar where it needs to be.
7:41, Adler began his run. Roman has one more rep. It looks like Hatfield has 2. Roman done, 7:54. Now it looks like Adler has about a 13 to 14 second lead going into round 3. We're gonna see when he returns. Hatfield following closely behind Roman Krennikov. Hopper with 1 rep left. 8:09 for Hopper as he hits his watch. Tasia, what are they doing with their watches?
It looks like they're pacing themselves on that run, seeing how they're staying at the same pace, if they're getting slower, if they're getting faster, which is smart. Having some data on your run and where you're at, it can only help.
Cornway out the door, also hitting his watch. Now this is a different level. Again, we talked about pacing and peaking and all these things, the difference in our space. These athletes are out on this run. And it is a race out there, but it's also understanding your own personal threshold. We talked about pace, don't race. Now there's a time to race.
Sure.
Right? I talked about this with Scott, and I'd be interested on your take. But while they're out there running, they're running through a bit of a tunnel. They're navigating in and out of this stadium. They know who is where on the barbell. And so there are points of reference on this run where they're like, okay, by this point, I've got to be this close. Otherwise, I know Tasia's going to run away with it. Or equally, for you, if you feel me creeping behind you on a run, you're like, okay, by this point, I got to make sure Adrian's 10 yards behind me. Otherwise, I know he's going to touch and go and pass me on the clean and jerks, right?
Yeah, for sure. And there's a point to run your own race, but be aware of what's happening around you to know if I need to come back in and I have it in me to speed up to pass you or stay ahead of you. Having those data points of where people are at is really helpful.
Now, you've competed both as an individual and on a team, but you were down there with Mayhem. Rich, notoriously, is one of the best and originals in our space at having that awareness, not just of himself, but of others, and being able to throttle back or accelerate when he chose to. What kind of lessons did you have when you were down there from him, learning that style of pacing versus maybe just being all internal?
Yeah, for sure. Rich, I mean, taught me so much from being on the team, and he is an expert in all of those things, so I'm very grateful. But I learned really about pacing and going out slower than what you think. If you've seen in Mayhem, a lot of times we would be behind in the beginning, and then we'd come, creep up, and pass. And me, I traditionally like to go out really hard and hold on. And so learning how to transition that was really helpful.
Yeah, I love that, because this is a lesson to everyday CrossFitters out there across the world, folks. Slow down a little, okay? If it's round one and you're moving like it's the last round, you should think ahead to the last round instead. Slow down a little, because here's what moves the needle. It's the power equation, right? We want to make a large load travel a long distance quickly. If it's for time, we want to have the shortest time. If it's for reps, we want to have the most reps. It doesn't matter who wins 5 minutes into a 10-minute workout. It doesn't matter who wins 3 rounds into a 6-round workout, right? A lot of folks need to understand that if they throttle back a little early, they will finish faster. And guess what? You can sometimes hurt less and go faster.
100%.
Sign me up for that twice.
Yeah, exactly.
And here it is at 10:55. Adler is passing the clock. So we'll notice when we got another athlete passing the clock to have a general idea of where they're at. We'll reference when he puts his hands on the bar too, Tasia. But right now, it is very clear that every time he steps out of this building, he's creating greater separation between he and the field. 11-12, hands on the bar for Mr. Adler. Now notice, he's got a solid pace. Every time he takes a rep, he's stepping back with his right foot. And this is a bit of a way for him to pace himself on the first few reps. And then we'll see if this changes at all. Nope, still the same cadence. Roman Krennikov, hands on, 11:30. Now he's created just a touch more separation between himself and Austin Hatfield, who's coming in third. Hands on for Austin, bottom right, at 11:38. Hopper on the heels of Hatfield. Tasia, as we've talked about before, this is where the rubber starts to meet the road in regards to your pacing. Saxon Panchin working on his reps, and also Will Morad. And I say the rubber meets the road in the fact of, like, you've got to make a conscious choice that it's time to suffer and it's time to go.
Absolutely.
Adler is completely out of the picture for me at 12:02. Sam Cornwhy just making his way to the bar. Roman Krennikov beginning his run, and now at 12:18, the same distance out as I referred to Adler. So Adler looking like he's got about a 16 to 17 second buffer on Roman. Austin Hatfield getting ready to make his way out of the stadium. 12:35 out of the door for Austin Hatfield. Hopper popping his watch at about the 12:41 mark. Morad on his way. Dallin Pepper finishing his last clean and jerk simultaneously as Ben Boulanger. Benoit Boulanger. Jack Farlow just beginning his clean and jerks. Now Jack Farlow in lane 15, bottom left, as we watch Travis Mayer pass below us and begin his run. Jack Farlow is one of the strongest men in our sport, yet also one of the youngest.
Wow.
And this is where we want to see growth for young Jack. He's had some great consistent gains in fitness throughout his years, but as a teen competitor, he was extremely strong. And then also we saw very early on last year, and even the year prior, that he could lift weights competing with some of the strongest in our sport. Now this is where we got to see growth for him in order specifically to be a top contender year in, year out at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, for sure.
Luke Parker rolling around the corner here to begin his 4th round of the 800-meter run. Now Luke comes into this with a background not just on reality TV, Tasia, but also in like triathlon and like more endurance-based sports. But he's also freakishly strong. He
is, yeah. This is a good workout for Luke. I saw it and thought he would do really well. So he seems to be holding a good pace. I'm curious if he'll be able to kick it in and make some moves.
And here goes Mr. Dre Strom heading out with a camera following closely behind him, which reverses the roles that he's probably not always so used to or comfortable with.
That's true.
Does Dre do pretty good in front of the camera?
Yeah, Dre's just silly all the time.
Which brings the entertainment value. That's what you want. That's what you need.
He definitely brought the entertainment value to our team in 2019. It was a constant battle of just, making fun of each other, competing with each other, and it made it a really good time.
when you think about what you prefer, looking back even through your years, did you prefer individual or do you prefer team?
I preferred team.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the camaraderie and going out into the floor. For me, I felt like I hit different thresholds on team too, because you might be able to relate to this. Just you're going to go to the darkest place possible for somebody on your team and just totally die out on the floor. And so I really experienced that.
That's right, and for folks that are watching and we're like, yeah, I mean, I train in my affiliate with my community, so that pushes me. There's no doubt that pushes you. But there's a difference in competing against someone and letting that bring out a greater demand from you, and when you're competing for someone.
Totally.
So I completely relate to you. I've got my most fond memories competing on a team because of the memories that we built throughout the years, no doubt about it. And look who it is. Jeff Adler, the fittest man on earth in 2023, who is looking to make another statement this year and run it back one more time. He is going to have his hands on the bar at 15:31, folks, leading the way. He's going to have several reps on Roman Krennikov, and here's now we're getting into gamesmanship. This is Jeff's third rep here, okay? Roman probably has an idea, but Roman also knows he got 10 clean and jerks in his back pocket when he needs to go touch and go on the last round.
For sure.
But you know who also knows that is Mr. Adler.
Yes.
Right? So the whole intentionality with this pace, with him riding his threshold, the way he is right now is to set himself up for a safe finish.
Yes.
In the final round. The last thing that you want to do when you're thinking about completely winning a competition is go into like an all-out sprint battle to finish.
Yeah, no. And I think Jeffrey Adler's doing a great job keeping his pace very consistent to what it was before. So
finished his clean and jerks at 16:15. 16:15. Roman still has 3 reps, now 2 reps to go. Hatfield still being very impressive on the run and back to his clean and jerk bar in 3rd place each and every round, but Hopper trying to chip away at his lead. Roman Krennikov done at 16:33. It looks like there's still about an 18-second buffer between he and Jeff Adler now. Hatfield with it looks to be about 3 reps to go. Hopper with a hand up though. So this is the race to really watch here. Will Hopper allow Hatfield to create separation, or will he be able to pick up that bar? Hatfield's starting to take a little bit longer rest between his reps now. Hopper's not relenting. Hopper's doing a great job at not dancing around his bar. His feet are staying static. Bottom of your screen. Hopper with 1 rep left. He and Hatfield are going out together. Oh, here we go. Jack Rosema chipping away at his bar. Will Morad right on the heels of these men that had just exited the run.
Yeah.
And he's got a shorter distance to his barbell, Tasia, so that is something to be mindful of.
Yeah.
He's going to be right here to the top left of the screen and get to stop with his clean and jerks, versus the rest of these guys are all coming around to this back half, so he might be pacing this thing just right to lull them to sleep almost.
Very true.
Travis Mayer chipping away to the upper right portion of your screen with a hand up. That's his final rep on the clean and jerk. Travis Mayer, several times multi-games athlete, high levels of fitness, and the most children, bar none. 4 kids deep, Mr. Mayer, and a gym owner, representing for all the dads out there. He's not alone in the dad category, no doubt, but 4 kids, I think that's pretty set apart.
That is pretty impressive.
Dre Strom, dead center. Fittest media man in the space, with, I believe, the Breathe Right nose strip across his nose.
Does he got that on?
It does. He does.
Do you think that's going to give a real benefit?
Well, he might even agree that probably not at all. But maybe he's just doing it for people like you that know
good.
he's being. Jack Farlow still chipping away bottom left of your screen. Lane 19, Spencer Panchik just wrapping up his clean and jerks. Luke Parker on his way out. Seth Stovall finishing up his round of clean and jerks. Dre Strom, 2 reps to go. Jack Farlow, still no hand up yet for him on this round of clean and jerks. You know, Tasia, there's an interesting philosophy here with like having tools in your tool belt. All right, our sport highly demands that you execute at a high level for Olympic weightlifting, right?
Yeah.
But if a traditional Olympic weightlifting coach teaches us, there's only really one speed, and that's always the fastest speed. From an empty barbell to the heaviest barbell, they want all your reps and sets to kind of be the same, look the same, feel the same. In our space, it's a little different. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a little bit of variation when you're under fatigue like that.
And here he comes. 19:30 on the clock as he enters the stadium. Mr. Adler is by himself at the moment. He rounds perfectly just to be able to see where Roman is. Jeff actually has a moment to gather himself at the barbell, and here he goes. Will he choose singles or will he do touch and go? It's singles for Jeff. He's got the long game in mind. If he doesn't need to do it, he's not going to do it, and that is a true professional move right there.
Smart.
Yeah, he's 3 reps in with the lead on Roman, and now he probably understands if he has to, he can. But he's now 5 reps ahead. And even at this clip, with touch and go reps, it'll be hard for Roman to make up that distance.
100%.
Roman's doing it though. Touch and go for Roman Krennikov. The crowd is going nuts. What will it be? Only 1 rep to go for Adler. Under 5 reps for Roman Krennikov, but it is Mr. Adler at 20:28 that put on an absolute clinic with the running each and every round to take the first place in event number 1. Roman Krennikov right on his heels, 20:39. What a finish by Roman with the touch and go.
That was impressive.
He legitimately makes it look like it's 185-pound jumping jacks, Taser.
Literally.
And here's what's unique about the amount of fitness these guys got. Roman just ran 2.5 miles and did 50 clean and jerks, and he just slapped Jeffrey Adler a high five like, great job.
Yeah.
Hopper made some moves, and now he's here, but Austin Hatfield is here to make a statement. He's going touch and go. Dallin Pepper choosing singles. Benoit Boulanger reps in, he's doing singles. Hatfield is now at singles. He's under 5 repetitions. Hopper touch and go. 3 reps left. He's hanging on. He wants to take this. 2 reps left. 1 rep for Austin Hatfield. Hopper's got to go. Time Austin Hatfield got him 21:37. For almost both of these athletes, it's going to be a finish that's too close for me to call. Dallin Pepper done 21:46. Benoit Boulanger, hand in the air. Travis Mayer with the hand in the air. That's it for Boulanger. He is done. Training partners with Jeff Adler. Boulanger, it's okay to die, but you got to die inside the red line, my friend. Travis Mayer finishing up his reps. He's got 1 rep to go. Tyler Christoffel also with 1 rep. That'll do it for Travis, though. Boy, Tyler almost closed the gap right there on him. Sam Cornway chipping away. Jack Rozema somehow with only 3 reps left. He really cooked those last 2 rounds. Morad is across. Saxon Panchik is done. Luke Parker getting to work on his barbell. Just a few reps left for Luke. Looks like he's down to 4 reps. It's also 4 for Samuel Cornway. 3 reps now for Sam. Alexander Caron in lane 5 is done. But here comes Spencer Panchik, opened up with a couple touch and go reps. Luke Parker 1 rep to go, and he will finish just behind Sam Cornway. Dre Strom entering the stadium, breathe right strip on his nose, hoping to pass his training partner Seth Stovall. But lane number 1, Cam Crockett also going to work. It is rep for rep as we enter the finish. This is where you got to dig deep. Get your hands on the bar before you're ready. Dre Strom gonna finish the final reps, touch and go. Cycling it like he should have been doing maybe a while ago. Look at that efficiency with the barbell. 1 rep for Mr. Strom, and he will do it. It looked like he and Stovall literally tied rep for rep. Wow, that was too close to call. Crockett 1 rep left. Lane 16, Peter Mason still chipping away, and that'll do it for Peter. Tasia, what a stinking race that was.
There are quite a few battles there on that last round.
I mean, this is absolutely insane to see the ability to pace and the capacity that is expressed by these young men out on the competition floor. I'm still really impressed the way Jeff finished and the way Roman finished, and in the fact that, like, they weren't the ones laying on the ground.
Yeah, they just finished and said, okay, on to the next.
Isn't that an expression of also the levels that exist even in an elite field like this, where these men are able to do what they just did, take 1 and 2, and still have something left in reserve?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely incredible. We are seeing that. I think we'll see it expressed over the whole weekend.
Jack Farlow making light work of 185 on his final round. Touch and go reps. We know that strength is not a limitation for this young man. He rattled off 6 in a row. 4 reps to go for Jack. And now he's got to be mindful of, Tasia, is that he's not just competing against these guys. Sure, his placing is set against this last heat, but there were other men still trying to finish just like he is now.
Absolutely. He needs to keep putting his pedal to the metal to get this done.
And that'll do it, 25-15 for Mr. Jack Farlow. And the rest of heat number 2, event 1. The storyline is this, it's simple. Jeff Adler is in really good shape.
Yeah, I agree.
The pacing that he has put into practice with Chris Henshaw, developing his aerobic capacity. He put on a clinic there with pacing, created enough separation between he and Roman Krennikov so that he didn't even have to stress his body and do touch and go. Was that all a part of his intention? And